Alright, I need a little break from sitting in front of a Zoom screen, so I'm going to go out and plant some lettuce right into the ground. After grabbing my trusty planting spade, my notebook and a pencil, and heading out to the hoop house, I was able to see this wonderful sight. The garlic is starting to come up. Well, I was just about to get started when Beth took a break from schoolwork to come out and see what I was up to. Well, I'm just planting this lettuce. See the peas? Well, I'm going to plant lettuce not in the walking path out here, but kind of like halfway between the line of peas and the walking path, so like in here. So all I'm going to do is scrape away the leaves a little bit, kind of halfway out. Get myself a little hole. Gently squeeze this. It falls right out, hopefully. There we go.
Did you break it?
Broke the root ball, but that's okay because I could just take the lettuce like that, hold it by the leaf, and drop it in the hole.
Will it plant again?
You mean root again?
Yeah.
Yep. I'll just cover it in like this and I'll come back and water it a little bit, although the soil's pretty wet in here. Just firm in around it, and there we go. Just like that. And put it in this hole. See all that water coming up? And then I'm gonna just firm in around it.
What if you accidentally bury it?
Well, I have done that before and I have to either let it go or dig it up. There. You want to do the next one?
Okay.
Say hi to the folks at home.
Hi.
So you're going to plant some lettuce?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. I put that block down so I can have one knee on it because it's pretty wet down here. All right, so why don't you grab the trowel, do your 10 inches from the last lettuce plant like I showed you.
Which is right here?
Yep, if you want them 10 inches
right
apart.
Here.
Yeah, you just use the shovel. And then remember, scrape the leaves away. Get down to the soil. We don't want to scrape them onto the peas. Yep, there you go. That's good enough. See how wet it is?
Yeah. Oh, this way?
Yep, just jam it right in there. You might have to wiggle it back and forth. Yep, there you go. That's all you need is to open up a hole. You just leave it in there. And then I know there's 2 plants in this one. I think there's another. Yep, I think there's 2 plants in that one too. So for both of these, we can break them apart.
So do I just take it like that?
Yep, take it like that and pick whichever one you want to use first.
That one?
Okay, so underneath it, you kind of squeeze the plastic like this. Now you got to keep your hand under this one too because they might both fall out. Yep.
Oh.
Okay. There you go. Now just kind of lower it down to the soil here. Okay, you want to try to figure out where the 2 plants are. See the 2 stems?
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 plants there. We got to kind of separate them without ripping anything.
So very delicate.
Very delicate, yep. So then once you get that, you can kind of jiggle the soil, loosen them up, pull them gently apart. There's one. There's
2.
the other, and this is a weed. So I'm just gonna let that burn out. So then you pick one, it doesn't matter which one.
This one?
Yep. Put it in behind your shovel. See how that water? And get ready to, remember, pull your shovel out while you're putting the lettuce plant in.
Oh.
Yep, perfect. And then you just have to get that soil down around. I like to hold it up like this and then push the soil down. Don't cut the roots. There you go. That's good enough. See? Yep. See that stem?
Yeah.
And how it's flopped over?
Mm-hmm.
You want the lettuce plant to have a fighting chance of standing up. So I'm gonna move that little rock and then kind of pack the soil in around like that. The nice thing about doing this on a day like this, when it's cloudy and there's so much water in the ground, we don't need to water.
Mm-hmm.
So normally when you put a plant out like this and it's not so wet, you gotta come water it right away because the roots are kind of shocked. All right, you want to do the next one? Figure out your 10 inches because you've got one plant still out. You don't want the roots out for very long. Figure out your 10 inches.
Here.
Yep, perfect. Scrape away your leaves. Don't put them onto the peas. There you go. You got it. Yep. Okay. Make your hole. You're getting kind of close to the peas, so move your shovel out here somewhere. Yep, there you go. Perfect.
That went in far.
Yeah, the ground's really soft because it's spring and it's wet. There you go. Look at all that water come up.
Wow. So it's like we're living under an ocean.
Once we were finished planting, Beth headed back inside for school, and I headed to the garden shed for the cloche.
So I've got 2 different types. This is something good you can do with, these are cranberry juice. I love cranberry juice. Drank a lot of it back in the day, but then I cut the bottoms off. I've also got these old pickle jars. I'm not going to use those, and I'll explain why when I'm in the hoop house.
Cloche is a French word and literally translated means bell. In the case of food production, however, it's so much more. In the second half of the 19th century, humanity had what may have been the pinnacle of sustainable commercial agriculture, and it was happening in Paris. I was introduced to this history by Eliot Coleman, organic farming high priest, author, and fellow Mainer. His book, The Winter Harvest Handbook, references the Parisian market gardens, or marchés, of the late 1800s. He does a great job introducing a fascinating concept, but I was hooked well beyond what he explained. However, thankfully, he provided several resources in the bibliography, all of which I now own and reference. While there's far too much of interest to even begin to scratch here, for the purposes of this video, what you need to know is that Parisian market gardeners were using cloches to extend their season and produce food year-round. Back then, the cloches were elegantly beautiful glass bells. My understanding is they were widely commercially available to farmers, and there were 2 main sizes, essentially large and small. They were thick, tall, and heavy, and amount to, as you can see here, a miniature greenhouse for individual or small handfuls of plants. In my case, I'm depending on my hatred of single-use anything and distaste for waste of things that could be repurposed and reused as long as possible. You can use essentially anything that is clear, and you can make a cloche any size you like. I'm using these old cranberry juice containers with the labels removed and the bottom of the jug cut off. I also have those pickle jars I showed in the garden shed. I'm using the plastic in here because they're protected in the hoop house from their biggest enemy, wind. Incidentally, if anyone knows where I can get my hands on hundreds of authentic cloches, I would love that. Until then, I'm happy to use these inside and the heavier, harder to blow over pickle jars if I need them outside, which occasionally I do. With the use of these little bells, particularly when coupled with a hoop house above them, I'm essentially moving the area immediately around each tender plant a few hardiness zones south of my actual location. Unless it gets suddenly and ridiculously cold, which is a real possibility this time of year in Maine, these lettuce plants will think they've been planted in New Jersey. The only real trick is they take a lot of good memory. You have to come out on warm days and make sure to vent them. In other words, take them off the plant. I'll talk a bit more about that in a future video. For now, all that's left is to make some good notes and file the garden signs back where they go to make sure I don't misplace them and they're there when I need them again the next time I plant lettuce seeds.